You look just like a woman. The dress, the hair.
How about the face?
Ever wondered how cross-dressing in Hollywood evolved from Shakespearean stages to the silver screen? Some performances broke barriers, while others, not so much. Stay tuned to find out more. Number 35. Charlie Chaplin in A Woman, 1915. Did you know Charlie Chaplin once played a woman? Yep. But was a comedy genius or a misstep? Let's find out. Charlie Chaplin, the king of silent film comedy, wasn't afraid to experiment, even if it meant putting on a dress. In A Woman, he portrays a man disguising himself as a woman to avoid trouble, a role that made audiences laugh back in 1915, but hasn't aged gracefully. Chaplin's exaggerated mannerisms and overly theatrical gestures may have worked then, but today, they feel more like a caricature than a convincing transformation. This wasn't just a quick gimmick for Chaplin. He was meticulous about the costume, and rumor has it, he enjoyed testing reactions while dressed as a woman off camera. So, genius or cringeworthy? Keep watching to decide.
Well, why don't you go out and get something to do? I ain't stopping you.
You bet you
Number
ain't.
34. Wallace Beery in various silent films. Ever seen a Hollywood star so convincing and drag that it leaves you speechless? Wallace Beery, though, went another route. Wallace Beery was known for his commanding screen presence, but his ventures into cross-dressing left more questions than answers. Playing a Swedish woman in silent films, Beery leaned heavily into stereotypes, making his performances almost cartoonish. It wasn't uncommon for silent film actors to rely on exaggerated physical comedy, but Beery's take often felt like it was missing the point entirely. Beery once said, "If you're going to wear a dress, you better sell it." Unfortunately, his selling came with over-the-top facial expressions and dramatic twirls that felt more comedic than authentic. What's more intriguing is that his attempts at cross-dressing were so outlandish, they became a running joke in Hollywood circles at the time.
You what?
Oh, there's plenty of room for both of us here. Come on, get your pajamas. Let's get curled up.
Number 33. Katharine Hepburn in Sylvia Scarlett, 1935. Did you know Katharine Hepburn took on a daring role in the 1930s that challenged Hollywood norms? But did it work? In Sylvia Scarlett, Hepburn plays a young woman disguised as a man to escape trouble, a bold move for the era. Hepburn, known for her strong-willed characters, leaned into the role with her signature confidence. But here's the twist. Audiences weren't ready for it. The film bombed, and critics weren't kind. They found her male disguise unconvincing, which was surprising given Hepburn's talent. Hepburn once admitted in an interview, "I wanted to push boundaries. Sometimes you fail, but at least you tried." This role might have been ahead of its time, but it sparked conversations about gender in film that still resonate today. So, flop or visionary misfire? Let's move on.
Hey, you want some? It's bourbon. I'll take a rain check.
Number 32. Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon in Some Like It Hot, 1959. Two iconic actors, one legendary movie, and a cross-dressing twist. Sounds perfect, right? Well, not everyone thought so. Curtis and Lemmon play musicians on the run, disguised as women in this classic comedy. While the movie is adored for its humor, their portrayals of women haven't aged as gracefully. Their over-the-top mannerisms and exaggerated femininity come across more like a parody than a genuine attempt to embrace female characters. Tony Curtis once joked, "I felt prettier in heels than I ever did in loafers." Behind the scenes, though, both actors admitted the costumes were uncomfortable and they struggled to keep a straight face during filming. The film might be a masterpiece in its own right, but their performances are definitely more slapstick than subtle.
Am I warm?
Not any kind of boy.
What's next? Keep watching. Number 31. Barbra Streisand in Yentl, 1983. Barbra Streisand as a young man? Sounds fascinating, right? But did it leave audiences convinced or just confused? In Yentl, Streisand plays a Jewish woman who disguises herself as a man to study at a religious school. While her singing is, as always, stunning, her male disguise is far less convincing. Despite her earnest effort, audiences couldn't look past her distinct features and iconic voice. Streisand was so passionate about this role that she directed the film herself, becoming the first woman to win a Golden Globe for Best Director. But even her groundbreaking achievement couldn't save her portrayal from criticism. Critics argued it leaned more into theatrics than authenticity. Still, Streisand once said, "If I didn't take risks, I'd never learn anything." Admirable? Absolutely. Flawless? Not quite. Let's keep rolling.
Wait a minute. Wait.
I'm new in town and I'm awfully lonely. I wondered if you wouldn't mind buying me.
Number 30. Dustin Hoffman in Tootsie, 1982. What happens when an actor plays an actor pretending to be a woman? Dustin Hoffman found out, and the results were mixed. In Tootsie, Hoffman plays an out-of-work actor who disguises himself as a woman to land a role on a soap opera. While the movie is a comedy classic, Hoffman's portrayal of a woman is both funny and cringeworthy. His character's exaggerated femininity borders on uncomfortable at times, making it hard to take seriously. Here's the behind-the-scenes gem. Hoffman reportedly said, "I learned how to empathize with women after this role." Yet critics and audiences alike felt his performance leaned too heavily on stereotypes, missing the nuance it needed. The film is beloved, but Hoffman's portrayal leaves viewers divided. Iconic or outdated? Let's keep the countdown going.
This holiday smells like burnt rubber. God, it's hot in here.
Number 29. Robin Williams in Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993. What if a loving dad had to dress as an eccentric nanny to see his kids? Hilarious or just plain awkward? Robin Williams' portrayal of Mrs. Doubtfire has become iconic, but not without its flaws. The movie's premise, Williams dressing as a middle-aged Scottish nanny to stay close to his children, is heartwarming, but his exaggerated mannerisms and over-the-top makeup lean into absurdity. Sure, it's a comedy, but some moments feel more like a cartoon than a heartfelt performance. Williams improvised most of his lines as Mrs. Doubtfire, keeping the cast and crew in fits of laughter. However, critics argued that the humor sometimes overshadowed the emotional core of the story. Williams himself joked, "If I could get my kids to laugh like this, I'd never need a costume." A classic, but not without its quirks.
Tired of expensive, low-effort script writers for your YouTube channel? Autoscripter.ai is the ultimate solution. Say goodbye to low-quality, poorly retention amateur scripts that fail to generate thousands of views for your channel. At a fraction of the cost, Autoscripter.ai helps your videos go viral. In just 3 steps, Autoscripter.ai creates a polished script tailored to your needs. Just input your title concept, select your tone and style. The intuitive interface makes editing and refining effortless, fast, smart, and trusted by hundreds of satisfied users who have already discovered the amazing tool. Start your free trial today and watch Autoscripter.ai transform your YouTube channel. Just click the link in the video description below now.
Conversely, some men need to be hit back.
Number 28. Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John Leguizamo in To Wong Foo, 1995. 3 macho stars playing drag queens? What could go wrong? Apparently, quite a bit. Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John Leguizamo took a bold leap in To Wong Foo, thanks for everything Julie Newmar, playing drag queens on a road trip. While their commitment to their roles is commendable, their performances are often critiqued for leaning into stereotypes. Their makeup and costumes are fabulous, but the depth and authenticity of their characters sometimes fell flat. Behind the scenes, Swayze admitted, "I've never worked so hard to walk gracefully in heels." Interestingly, the film received praise for its positive portrayal of drag culture, but the exaggerated performances left some viewers rolling their eyes. John Leguizamo reportedly stayed in character during filming breaks to perfect his role. Admirable effort, but the execution? That's up for debate. Number 27. Hilary Swank in Boys Don't Cry. What happens when a powerful story meets a performance that divides audiences? Hilary Swank's role in Boys Don't Cry is one to remember. In this true story, Swank plays Brandon Tina, a transgender man navigating a hostile world. While her performance earned her an Oscar, it also sparked debates about authenticity and representation. Critics lauded her dedication. She reportedly lived as a man for weeks to prepare, but others questioned why a transgender actor wasn't cast instead. Swank only earned $3,000 for this role, proving her passion for the project. She once said, I wasn't doing it for the money, I was doing it for the story. While the film broke new ground, Swank's portrayal remains a topic of discussion even decades later.
Sorry that I couldn't be here. He told me how back in Viola, you were his
Number
great
26, Eddie Redmayne in The Danish Girl, 2015. How far would an actor go to embody a groundbreaking role? Eddie Redmayne gave it his all, but was it enough? In The Danish Girl, Redmayne portrays Lily Elby, one of the first people to undergo gender confirmation surgery. While his performance is undeniably emotional, many viewers found it overly theatrical, detracting from the authenticity of Lily's story. Critics also pointed out the lack of trans representation, arguing that the role should have gone to a transgender actor. Redmayne spent months studying femininity, from posture to voice, in preparation for the role. He said, I wanted to honor Lily's bravery, but I learned I still had so much to understand. The film's intent was noble, but its execution left much to be desired.
With me, Mum? Yes, Mr. Nobbs, with you. But...
Number 25, Glenn Close in Albert Nobbs, 2011. Could one of Hollywood's most versatile actresses pull off playing a man? Glenn Close certainly tried, but did it work? In Albert Nobbs, Glenn Close plays a woman living as a man in 19th century Ireland to secure employment. Her performance is subtle, but some felt it was too restrained. The film aims to explore themes of identity and survival, but Close's portrayal lacked the emotional depth to fully connect with audiences. Critics admired her dedication, but questioned the lack of nuance in the character. Close first played Albert Nobbs in a stage production decades before the film. She once said, Albert's story stuck with me for years. I knew it had to be told. While the story is compelling, her performance didn't quite land for everyone.
Oh, Mammy. Do you have the price of the dance and a cup of coffee?
Number 24, Cillian Murphy in Breakfast on Pluto, 2005. What happens when one of today's most intense actors takes on a flamboyant role? Cillian Murphy found out in Breakfast on Pluto. Murphy plays Patrick Kidden Braden, a transgender woman searching for her mother in 1970s Ireland. While Murphy's performance is daring, some critics felt it lacked the authenticity needed for such a complex character. His portrayal often veers into eccentricity, leaving viewers divided on whether it's brave or just awkward. Murphy worked closely with members of the LGBTQ+ community to prepare for the role. He said, I wanted to portray Kitten with love and respect, but it's a role that teaches you humility. Despite his efforts, many felt the role would have been better served by a transgender actor. Murphy's charisma shines through, but does it save the performance? That's up to you to decide.
I'm Rayon.
Number 23, Jared Leto in Dallas Buyers Club, 2013. An Oscar-winning performance, but was it really the right choice? Jared Leto's role in Dallas Buyers Club remains controversial. Leto plays Rayan, a transgender woman battling AIDS, and while his performance earned him an Academy Award, it also faced backlash. Critics praised his emotional range, but criticized the casting of a cisgender actor for the role. Many felt it was a missed opportunity to give a transgender actor a voice in a mainstream film. Behind the scenes, Leto stayed in character throughout filming, even refusing to answer to his real name on set. He claimed it was about fully embodying Rayan's spirit. Admirable dedication, but many questioned if the role should have gone to someone with lived experience. The performance is powerful, but does it do justice to the story? Let's keep going. Number 22, Gael Garcia Bernal in La Mala Educación, Bad Education, 2004. Can a matinee idol convincingly transform into a femme fatale? Gael Garcia Bernal gave it his all in Bad Education. In this Almodovar masterpiece, Bernal plays a transgender character wrapped in mystery, love, and deception. While his performance is captivating, it occasionally dips into melodrama, leaving some moments feeling more like theater than cinema. Still, his portrayal brought a rare vulnerability to the role. Bernal admitted he struggled to walk in heels and confessed, "I have so much respect for women. It's not easy." While his effort was commendable, some viewers felt the character could have been portrayed more authentically by a transgender actor. It's a compelling performance, but does it hit the mark? The debate continues. Let's move forward. Number 21, Felicity Huffman in Transamerica, 2005. An Oscar nomination, a heartfelt performance, and plenty of controversy, Felicity Huffman's role in Transamerica is still debated today. Huffman plays Bree, a transgender woman on a road trip to reconnect with her estranged son. Her performance is heartfelt and layered, capturing Bree's struggles with identity and acceptance. However, much like other entries on this list, the casting of a cisgender actress sparked criticism. Many felt the role should have gone to a transgender actress for greater authenticity. Huffman worked extensively with transgender women to prepare for the role, learning their experiences to inform her performance. She said, "I wanted to honor Bree's journey in the most truthful way I could." Admirable, but the casting choice overshadowed much of her work. While the film is touching, Huffman's portrayal feels like a missed opportunity for representation. What's your take? Number 20, John Travolta in Hairspray, 2007. John Travolta in a fat suit and heels. What could possibly go wrong? Turns out, quite a bit. In Hairspray, Travolta plays Edna Turnblad, a larger-than-life character traditionally played by men in stage productions. While the movie is colorful and fun, Travolta's performance is overly stiff and lacks the campy charm the role demands. Critics noted that his portrayal often felt awkward and uncomfortable, which is a shame given the vibrant energy of the film. Travolta spent hours in the makeup chair every day to transform into Edna and reportedly had a blast dancing in heels. However, he admitted, "It wasn't easy. I have a newfound respect for women who wear these things daily." Travolta's effort is evident, but his performance doesn't live up to the larger-than-life spirit of Edna. Let's keep going. Number 19, Divine in Hairspray, 1988. Before Travolta, there was Divine, the drag legend who played Edna Turnblad unforgettable. But does unforgettable mean perfect? Divine, an iconic drag performer, played Edna with the over-the-top flair and unapologetic boldness in John Waters' Hairspray. While many celebrate the performance for its campy energy, some felt it leaned a little too hard into caricature, losing some of the character's emotional depth. Divine's portrayal was groundbreaking for its time, but not everyone was on board with the exaggerated approach. Divine actually hated singing, so her musical numbers were dubbed by another artist. Still, her larger-than-life presence became a defining feature of the film. Divine's Edna remains iconic, but does it strike the right balance between comedy and heart? Let's move on to the next.
Oh, Aman, really?
Absolutely.
Oh.
We've got 5 hours. All right, first, get your
Number 18, Nathan Lane in The Birdcage, 1996. Comedy gold or cringe-worthy cliches? Nathan Lane's performance in The Birdcage is a classic with a complicated legacy. Lane plays Albert, a drag queen with a flair for drama, opposite Robin Williams. His performance is undeniably funny, but it heavily leans on stereotypes that some feel haven't aged well. While Lane brought heart and humor to the role, the exaggerated mannerisms and effeminate portrayal sparked conversations about representation in comedy. Behind the scenes, Lane once joked, "I wasn't acting. I was just being myself with a little extra glitter." His natural comedic timing shines through, but critics argue the film could have done more to challenge stereotypes. The Birdcage remains a beloved classic, but does Albert's portrayal feel outdated? Let's dive into the next.
I have a word with you, Norma.
What is it you need?
It's very
Get your
important.
mitts
It's
off
going to
me.
change your whole
Down!
life.
Get this! Oh!
Number 17, Julie Andrews in Victor Victoria, 1982. Julie Andrews as a woman pretending to be a man, pretending to be a woman. Confused yet? So were some viewers. In Victor Victoria, Andrews plays Victoria, a woman who disguises herself as a male performer impersonating a female singer. While the film is a charming musical comedy, Andrews' portrayal struggles to convincingly sell the man part of the disguise. Her elegance and natural femininity shine through, making it hard to believe anyone would mistake her for a man. Andrews loved the complexity of the role, calling it one of the most fun challenges of my career. Despite this, critics felt the performance was more about theatrics than authenticity. While the film remains a classic, Andrews' performance walks a fine line between playful and perplexing. Let's see what's next on the list.
There's an Indonesian phrase in the film which translates into English as
Number 16, Linda Hunt in The Year of Living Dangerously, 1982. Did you know Linda Hunt won an Oscar for playing a man? But was it a bold choice or a baffling one? In The Year of Living Dangerously, Hunt portrays Billy Kwan, a male photographer in Indonesia. While her performance earned her an Academy Award, it also raised eyebrows for its casting. Critics admired her commitment to the role, but many felt a male actor could have brought more authenticity to Billy's character. Hunt shaved her head for the role and spent months studying male mannerisms to nail her performance. She once said, "It was about capturing Billy's spirit, not just his look." Still, the casting choice remains a point of contention. Hunt's talent is undeniable, but does her portrayal cross the line into misrepresentation? Let's move forward to the next entry. Number 15, Cate Blanchett in I'm Not There, 2007. Who would have thought Cate Blanchett could play Bob Dylan? She did, but does it truly work? In I'm Not There, Blanchett takes on the role of Jude, a fictional version of Bob Dylan during his mid-1960s phase. Her performance is haunting and uncanny, yet some argue that it leans into mimicry rather than reinvention. While her acting is remarkable, the transformation feels more like a tribute act than a layered portrayal. Blanchett learned to play the harmonica for the role and even wore the exact suits Dylan once owned. She described the role as terrifying but exhilarating. Still, her depictions sparked debates about whether it veered too far into impersonation. Blanchett dazzles, but does she truly embody Dylan's spirit? Let's keep going to see what's next.
Gentlemen, I find it strange. You are poets, each one of you, and speak of your muse.
Number 14, Tilda Swinton in Orlando, 1992. Tilda Swinton playing a gender-swapping immortal? Sounds perfect, right? But even perfection has its limits. In Orlando, Swinton portrays the titular character who changes genders over the course of centuries. Her androgynous appearance makes her a natural fit for the role, but some critics felt the film's artistic tone overshadowed the character's emotional journey. Swinton's ethereal performance is mesmerizing, yet it sometimes feels more style than substance. Swinton worked closely with costume designers to create outfits that blurred gender lines. She said, "Orlando isn't just a character, it's a concept." While her portrayal is unforgettable, it left some viewers longing for more depth. Swinton shines as Orlando, but does the film fully explore its ambitious premise? Let's find out what's next.
I'm not Sebastian. I'm Viola.
Number 13, Amanda Bynes in She's the Man, 2006. What happens when a teen comedy star disguises herself as her twin brother? Hilarity or something else entirely? In She's the Man, Amanda Bynes plays Viola, a soccer-loving teenager who pretends to be her brother to join an all-boys team. While the film is undeniably fun, Bynes' portrayal as Sebastian leans into the overly exaggerated. Her deepened voice and awkward attempts at masculinity are more comedic than convincing, making it hard to take the disguise seriously. Bynes admitted she struggled with the transformation, saying, "Seeing myself as a boy freaked me out. It was so weird." While the movie remains a beloved teen classic, her performance feels more like a parody than an authentic representation. Does it make you laugh? Sure. Does it hold up? That's another question entirely. Let's move on. Number 12, Gwyneth Paltrow in Shakespeare in Love, 1998. Imagine Gwyneth Paltrow as a man trying to become an actor in Shakespeare's time. Intriguing, right? But does it work? In Shakespeare in Love, Paltrow plays Viola, a woman who disguises herself as a man to perform on stage, a necessity in Elizabethan England. While her performance won her an Oscar, some critics argue that her male disguise is far from convincing. Her delicate features and graceful mannerisms make it difficult to believe she could pass as a man. Paltrow later revealed that she found it liberating to play a male character, saying, "It gave me a whole new perspective on the world." Despite her enthusiasm, her disguise left many viewers unconvinced. The film is romantic and charming, but Paltrow's portrayal of a man, let's just say it's more poetic than plausible. Next up.
Well, we're here to talk about you. So what is your name?
Number 11, Angelina Jolie in Salt, 2010. Angelina Jolie in a wig and fake beard. Was it genius or just a bit too much? Let's break it down. In Salt, Jolie plays Evelyn Salt, a CIA operative on the run who disguises herself as a man to evade capture. While her male transformation is brief, it is one of the film's most talked about moments. Despite her efforts, audiences found it hard to overlook Jolie's unmistakable features, even with heavy makeup and a beard. The prosthetics took hours to apply, and Jolie joked, "I couldn't even recognize myself in the mirror." Still, the disguise became a point of critique for feeling more like a plot gimmick than a believable transformation. Jolie's performance is gripping, but her male disguise? Let's just say it wasn't fooling anyone. On to the next.
Perhaps a salad?
Perhaps not. I'll have the
Number
steak.
10, Marlon and Shawn Wayans in White Chicks, 2004. What happens when two undercover agents go full drag to infiltrate high society? You get white chicks and plenty of cringes. The Wayans brothers play FBI agents who disguise themselves as wealthy white socialites in this over-the-top comedy. While the movie is a cult classic for its outrageous humor, their portrayals are so exaggerated that they become a meme-worthy example of how not to do cross-dressing. The prosthetics and makeup are unconvincing, and their mannerisms push the performances deep into caricature territory. Marlon Wayans once said, "It was fun, but wearing those heels was torture. We suffered for our art." Despite its cult status, the film humor hasn't aged well, and their disguises are more laughable than believable. Still, it's hard to forget White Chicks. Love it or hate it, it's unforgettable. Let's keep going. Number 9, Adam Sandler in Jack and Jill, 2011. Adam Sandler playing his own twin sister. What could go wrong? Spoiler, a lot. In Jack and Jill, Sandler plays both Jack and his twin sister Jill, and the results are chaotic. His portrayal of Jill is cartoonishly over the top, relying on every possible stereotype of an annoying, overbearing woman. From exaggerated facial expressions to a grating voice, it's hard to take Jill seriously as a character. While the movie aims for laughs, it ends up feeling more like a comedy sketch that goes on far too long. Sandler admitted he loved the challenge of playing a dual role, but critics weren't so kind. Jack and Jill swept the Razzies that year, winning 10 awards, including Worst Actress for Sandler as Jill. It's a performance that divides audiences, cringeworthy for some, hilarious for others. What's your take? Number 8, Martin Lawrence in Big Mama's House, 2000. Martin Lawrence as a grandma in disguise? Sounds hilarious, but does the comedy hold up today? In Big Mama's House, Lawrence plays an FBI agent who disguises himself as Big Mama, an elderly woman, to solve a crime. While the movie delivers laughs, Lawrence's portrayal relies heavily on stereotypes about older black women. The prosthetics and costume are impressive, but the exaggerated personality often feels more like a cartoon than a character. Lawrence had to endure hours of makeup each day to transform into Big Mama, and he described the process as hot, sweaty, and totally worth it. Despite its success at the box office, the film's humor hasn't aged well, with many questioning its reliance on outdated tropes. Big Mama may have been a hit in its time, but how does it hold up today? Let's move on.
All the collector's items I have up in here, I done collected this stuff from all over
Number
the world.
7, Tyler Perry as Medea in various films. Tyler Perry's Medea is iconic, but does that mean she's perfect? Let's unpack this larger-than-life character. Tyler Perry's Medea, the no-nonsense matriarch, has become a staple of his films. While Perry's performance is undeniably entertaining, Medea often feels more like a comedic gimmick than a fully fleshed-out character. Her loud, brash persona relies on exaggerated stereotypes, which has drawn criticism over the years for perpetuating caricatures of black women. Perry first introduced Medea in a stage play, and her popularity skyrocketed, leading to an entire franchise. He once joked, "Medea is the grandmother everyone wishes they had, but maybe not all the time." While Medea's antics have brought joy to millions, they've also sparked debates about representation in comedy. Love her or not, she's unforgettable. Let's see who's next. Number 6, RuPaul Charles in But I Am a Cheerleader, 1999. RuPaul out of drag and playing a campy character? That's not something you see every day. In But I'm a Cheerleader, RuPaul plays Mike, a counselor at a conversion therapy camp. While RuPaul's star power adds flair to the role, the performance is intentionally over the top, aligning with the satirical tone of the film. However, some critics felt it leaned too far into parody, losing some of the bite the movie aimed to deliver. RuPaul described the role as a fun departure from his drag persona, saying, "It's a chance to show people a different side of me." While his comedic timing is spot on, the role feels more like a caricature than a character. It's a bold performance, but does it add to the story or distract from it? Let's move on to the top 5.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Number 5, Tim Curry in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, 1975. Tim Curry is Dr. Frankenfurter. Iconic, right? But not everyone agrees. Is it camp brilliance or just too much? In the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Curry plays a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. His performance is nothing short of legendary, combining charm, menace, and flamboyance. However, some critics argue that the over-the-top nature of the role reduces Frankenfurter to a caricature, overshadowing the film's themes of individuality and acceptance. Curry has said this was one of his favorite roles, calling it liberating and insanely fun. Still, the portrayal leans heavily into camp, making it divisive for those who prefer subtlety. Despite the criticism, it remains a cult classic and a cornerstone of queer cinema. Whether you love it or hate it, Tim Curry's performance is unforgettable. Let's dive into the next one. Number 4, Johnny Depp in Before Night Falls, 2000. Johnny Depp in drag in a serious drama? You bet. But did it hit the mark, or was it a distraction? In Before Night Falls, Depp plays Bon Bon, a flamboyant prison inmate who befriends the main character. While his role is brief, it's memorable for all the wrong reasons. Depp's portrayal feels exaggerated, bordering on cartoonish, and it clashes with the otherwise serious tone of the film. Critics argued that his performance felt out of place and lacked the nuance the character deserved. Depp said he loved the chance to play with extremes in the role, but audiences weren't entirely convinced. The contrast between his over-the-top portrayal and the film's gravity makes it one of Depp's most polarizing performances. A bold choice, but did it add to the film or detract from it? Let's find out what's next. Number 3, Chris Tucker in The Fifth Element, 1997. Chris Tucker as Ruby Road, a genius casting or a chaotic mess. Let's break down one of sci-fi's most divisive characters. In The Fifth Element, Tucker plays Ruby Road, an eccentric, gender-fluid radio host. His performance is bold, loud, and unapologetically over the top, which fits the film's wild aesthetic. However, some critics felt his portrayal bordered on offensive, relying too heavily on stereotypes of femininity and queerness for comedic effect. Tucker's costumes were designed by legendary fashion designer Jean-Paul Gaultier, making Ruby one of the most visually striking characters in sci-fi history. Tucker admitted, "I had the time of my life playing Ruby. It was pure fun. Love it or hate it, Ruby Road is a character you won't forget anytime soon." Let's keep the countdown going.
We're gonna go with her.
Yeah, I did ask her if she wanted to go. A bunch of us from the team are
Number
gonna go to
2,
Benny.
Elliot Page in Juno, 2007. Did Elliot Page's androgynous style in Juno blur the lines of gender, or was it just a character choice? Page plays Juno, a witty, sarcastic teenager navigating an unplanned pregnancy. While the character isn't explicitly cross-dressing, Page's style and mannerisms sparked conversations about gender representation in teen films. Critics praised the performance for its authenticity, but debated whether the character was reinforcing or challenging stereotypes. Page said, "Juno was a dream role. It felt like I was playing a version of myself." The film's success catapulted Page to stardom, but the gender conversations it sparked continue to this day. Page's portrayal is layered and heartfelt, but does it belong on this list? Let's go to the final entry. Number 1, Gael Garcia Bernal in Y Tu Mama Tambien, 2001. At number 1, we have Gael Garcia Bernal in Y Tu Mama Tambien. Did this groundbreaking role redefine boundaries or confuse audiences? In Alfonso Cuarón's coming-of-age drama, Bernal's character blurs the lines of gender and sexuality, adding complexity to an already layered story. While his performance is compelling, some felt these subtle nods to gender fluidity were underdeveloped, leaving audiences wanting more. Bernal said, "This role was about exploring identity in all its forms. It wasn't about labels, it was about truth." While the film is a masterpiece, this portrayal tops our list because it represents both a missed opportunity and a step forward. So what do you think? Was this the best of the worst or something entirely different? Let's wrap up. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos for more Hollywood insights. See you next time.